Good evening. I'm Patricia Vallone with a CTV News update. Prince George's Public Schools will continue virtual learning this fall. CEO Dr. Monica Goldson made the announcement this afternoon. She says students will learn online 5 days a week for at least the first 2 quarters starting August 31st. She also says that the school system will help close the digital access gap by providing Chromebooks and even Wi-Fi access to needy families. In addition, the district will offer parent support centers and small group help for some children.
When the committee looked at what we would do for the opening of school, we made 3 things paramount, and that was safety, equity, and excellence. And so as long as we kept those 3 in mind when the decision had to be made, then we knew that we were on the right path. And I feel confident about the decision that we've made for today.
Now, Goldson says that in December, the school system will offer families the option to determine if kids will have 2 days of in-person instruction beginning in February. The Prince George's Teachers Union is backing the school system's decision to continue distance learning. Union President Teresa Dudley says students should not head back to class right away. While she says there's a digital access gap among the kids and even teachers, she thinks safety should be the main concern right now.
A spread in a school would be very problematic because who's going to make the decision what we would do? If a teacher comes to school positive with COVID and spreads it to every other teacher in the building, then that whole school will have to be shut down for 14 days to quarantine. If a student comes to school with COVID, then what do we do?
Dudley also says the Educators Association is running a campaign called Opportunity to Learn to ensure that students and teachers have access to the internet. Meantime, Montgomery County has already announced it plans to implement a phased-in approach to in-person learning, but will start the school year with virtual distance learning for all students. Maryland teachers and PTA groups want the entire state to begin the school year fully online. They sent a letter to Governor Hogan and State Superintendent Karen Salmon explaining the complexities and dangers of reopening schools amid the pandemic.
Health experts still consider an in-person return to school as high risk, and districts have yet to include in preliminary plans how to appropriately address and maintain the health and safety protocols needed to resume even minimal in-person learning. For these reasons and more, we are calling for the 2021 school year to begin with virtual learning and instruction for at least the first semester.
The Maryland State Department of Education is expected to issue guidance soon. The Trump administration rescinds a rule that would have required foreign students to leave the country if their classes were taken entirely online because of the pandemic. As we reported yesterday, more than 200 colleges and universities announced their support for a federal lawsuit brought by Harvard and MIT that challenged that rule. The decision to return to the status quo was announced at the beginning of a hearing on the lawsuit yesterday in Boston. The ruling brings relief to thousands of foreign students at risk of deportation and higher education institutions, which were scrambling to reassess their programs. COVID-19 cases in Maryland are increasing. For the second straight day, coronavirus cases in the state have surpassed 700. The report indicates a continued high infection rate among younger people. Those under the age of 40 represent 53% of the newly announced cases. The highest number of new infections came from people in their 20s. Well, today is tax day. Your 2019 returns must be postmarked by midnight tonight. You'll recall that the government extended the traditional tax deadline by 3 months due to the pandemic. The IRS has announced that the deadline will not be extended beyond July 15th. If you need more time, you can request an automatic extension to file by October 15th. Montgomery County shuts down 2 Silver Spring businesses for violating COVID-19 guidelines. Society Lounge and Republic Garden, both located on Georgia Avenue, were closed early this week and had their licenses suspended. Now, meantime, a business in Gaithersburg was issued a warning and citation because its employees were not wearing masks. And if you patronize Walmart, you'll have to wear a mask in the future. Starting on Monday, The nation's largest retailer will require that customers wear face coverings. Sam's Club outlets will follow the new rules as well. Walmart says it will have employees stationed at entrances to remind you of the new requirements. Laurel police are investigating a shooting overnight. It happened around 11 p.m. in the 900 block of Montrose Avenue. Authorities say the victim suffered non-life-threatening injuries, but they are asking for the public's help. Anyone with information on the shooting is asked to contact police. A local organization that aims to get more Black youth into swimming is heading across the Atlantic. Byron Scott has our story.
We really wanted to bring more awareness to this event. And what we ended up doing was finding two amazing Howard University swimmers, Noah Nicholas and Skylar Smith, and they agreed to be our swim ambassadors and form the first African-American team to participate in this race.
A new national political organization emerges and a local mayor has a leading voice. Mayor Candace Hollingsworth of the city of Hyattsville has joined the Our Black Party. Hollingsworth will serve as the group's national co-chair. The organization's objective is to advance policies that support a Black political agenda. The group plans to build a network of African-American advocates, elected leaders, community members, and allies. For more information on the organization, visit ourblackparty.org. A new study by NOAA predicts an increasing amount of high tide flooding in the future along 4 out of 5 coastal Maryland communities monitored by the federal government. Now, the agency projects that the acceleration will begin this year. High tide or nuisance flooding is seen as an indicator of climate change. Annapolis saw a record 18 days of it last year. Other areas hard hit were Tolchester Beach in Kent County, Cambridge, Baltimore City, and Solomon's Island.
Hi everybody, and welcome to this CTV Sports Report. Today I'm out here at Prince George's Stadium, home of the Bowie Bay Sox, and this year home to the Baltimore Orioles 30-man taxi squad for the 2020 season. I caught up with Bay Sox General Manager Brian Shawcross and talked to him about what's going to be happening on the field behind me once the players report.
Here you'll have some minor leaguers and top prospects that are going to be training, doing inter-squad games, doing some practices to stay sharp and get ready if the Orioles call them up. Major League Baseball protocols in this new world are pretty strict, so it's really not going to be a lot of time on site when you're not practicing. So it's going to be come in, get your treatment if you need it, play, practice, train, do what you need to do to get the work done, back in the clubhouse, get changed and go. So it's really not going to be as much time on site as normal. Well, since we're not really the asset that we normally are to the community, we are an asset to the Baltimore Orioles in this instance, and that certainly gives us some pride that we are part of the solution to help the Orioles train for this season and keep everybody sharp. So while we're not really the asset of the community and people coming out to the ball games, we are providing a service to the Baltimore Orioles, and certainly that makes us feel like we're doing something for good for our partner, the Orioles.
Top Orioles prospect Adley Rochman will also be here at Bowie on the taxi squad.
I think just the opportunity to be at a big league ballpark with big league guys, much like spring training, it's a tremendous learning opportunity for me. Just being able to be with all the coaches from a catching standpoint, catching big league guys, seeing what they like to do. It's all been beneficial, and I'm just excited to be here and just to be able to learn from everyone around. I think just pitching as a whole, every single pitcher wants to do something different. They want, different setup, different target, different pitch calling. And so just getting comfortable with each one of those guys from, a personal standpoint is very important. And I think it's cool to see that from, big league guys, especially because, they've been around for a while and they know exactly what they're doing. And, I'm still, trying to learn as much as I can. And then just, from a technique standpoint, being able to get with all the big league coaches and understand, what it takes at the highest level is just important for me because I'm just trying to get better.
And that is your CTV Sports Report.
And that's all for us this evening. Thanks for watching. Join us again tomorrow at 4:30. Have a great night.
For the latest information on COVID-19 in Maryland, visit the State Health Department website. That's health.maryland.gov. Again, health.maryland.gov. Click the link to the COVID-19 information portal. There you'll find all the latest information about coronavirus. You'll find daily updates on cases and fatalities. Answers to questions about testing and the governor's stay-at-home order are available as well. For specific information about Prince George's, visit princegeorgescountymd.gov. That's princegeorgescountymd.gov. The site offers information about local services for residents and businesses. There's a link for COVID-19 relief donations. Also, food pantry locations are listed. And if you have any questions, call the county COVID-19 hotline at 301-883-6627. That's 301-883-6627.
You're looking at me in the future. Okay. Hi, Isaac.
Hi.
Wait a second.
Do you know who I am?
Julia.
This is Jaina. Into the future. I just wanted to talk to you about what happened with those two girls.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember it was this girl that I was getting bullied by that one day at PE when they were like yelling at me, and then you just linked arms with me? I don't think you know how much like that helped me, because like I finally like knew that I had somebody. Because of you, Isaac, and what you did for me years ago, I grew up to be more independent and love myself and just be a little bit more confident.
Aw, I'm like a little tearing up right now. Just to see her in the future just blossom and look beautiful, and that was really amazing.
Here are your AARP top tips on caregiver preparedness during coronavirus. First, form a caregiving team. Create a list of people in your family and friend network who can help with caregiving tasks. Take an inventory of supplies in your loved one's home. Try to have a 2-week supply of essential items. Make a list of the care recipient's medications and medical contacts. Be sure to have prescriptions on hand and ask the pharmacist for an extra 30-day supply. Make a plan to stay connected. To prevent social isolation, set up available technology to help loved ones stay connected and schedule regular chats. Finally, maintain your own self-care. Follow the Centers for Disease Control's guidelines for coronavirus safety. And have a backup plan for care in case you become ill. For more caregiving tips during the coronavirus pandemic, go to aarp.org/caregiving.
I moved to Florida with literally pennies in my pocket and a prayer. I needed a new start. Dacian looks like a very typical 3-year-old until you ask him, "What's your name? How old are you?" My son has a lot of behaviors that would show as being autistic. Most kids can tolerate a variety of foods, but unfortunately for Dacian, everything has to be organic and raw. I wasn't ashamed to go to the food pantries. It's expensive to eat healthy, and nutrition is very important to Dacian's health. The healthy organic food that we receive dramatically helped his social skills. Most people would say, she really doesn't have much of a life. But to me, I have everything right there next to me and my son. You are loved. You are valued. You are resilient. You got this.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides at aarp.org/caregiving.